everyone, how's it going? It's That Nerd Ryan here, and today we're going to talk about Call of Duty Vanguard. Let me do a quick awkward grab here because I have the zombie maps written down because, again, they're forgettable. But we'll get to that in a minute. Right now we're going to talk about the story. So I do want to, again, preface this by saying we're not doing the campaign. We're only going to be doing the campaign on Modern Warfare 3. The multiplayer. Just due to the fact that, it kind of has a quick turnaround on the multiplayer to where it will not be fun for people playing a few years later. So let's go ahead and talk about this game, speaking of not having fun. So the story is about a elite group of 6 soldiers across the Allied team looking into something called Project Phoenix, where they find, getting arrested. We get arrested by a character named Frostinger, who was a right-hand man, Merry from Lord of the Rings. He's played by him. I actually did forget his name because he was kind of a forgettable character. They are basically interrogating this team. So in the first level, the character that you're playing as, Novak, dies. Wade, who is a different character, gets away, and the other 4 are arrested. They consisted of Arthur Kingsley, his friend, which we'll get why I can't remember his name in a minute, Polina Petrov, Wade Jackson, who was the one that got away, and Lucas Briggs, I believe it is, something like that. They are getting interrogated one by one, and with that we're being introduced to each character. Most of the story is narrated by Arthur, considering he's the leader of the group, and that is a point of contention I have. I think Arthur's an alright character. Don't get me wrong, it's just the way that it's narrated reminds me of when I was in middle school and I didn't know how to end a essay. So I would kind of do a ... sort of ending, if you know what I mean. Like an ellipses where it's well, maybe one day it'll change, sort of thing. And that's kind of how every segment of Arthur's narrating ends. And it gets annoying pretty quick. Because it just gets under your skin. So Arthur was a part of D-Day. He was a British paratrooper who flies in. Also, because it's apparently important to the plot, even though this plot tries to be as safe as possible, it's important to know that he's black. Because they do drop the other N-bomb constantly in this game from the N-words. The N-A words. You know what I mean. The Germans. They do drop both those words a lot in this for a game that's apparently trying to play it safe. And that is an issue with the game, is that it does try to play things safe, but at the same time it wants it to be realistic as possible, which you can't do. You have to pick one or the other because it's very inconsistent with what it's trying to push. And we'll get to that kind of more during the story ending. But yeah, so anyways, him and his partner, who is also with the Vanguard team, are tasked at taking out the artillery so the planes can bomb. You're able to blow through and do that, and you help turn the tide of D-Day. That's another constant thing about each character, is they've turned the tide of the war single-handedly in battles that they did. We then follow Polina, who is a Russian girl from Stalingrad. When Germany invades, she loses her father. She also ends up being a very good shot and probably an assassin from Assassin's Creed, which I didn't know Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed were connected. They're not. But yeah. Anyway, so she is only sought for revenge. She says it probably about 20 times about only caring about revenge in the short plot, and that also doesn't count the 20 other times all the other characters say that she's only out for revenge. So yeah, that's her one and only personality trait. Don't get me wrong, I actually do like her as a character. It's just something that I realized, which again we'll talk about later, but with the author of this story. So anyways, she goes and she helps kind of get the Battle of Stalingrad rolling and getting the Germans out of Stalingrad. I am going to jump ahead a little bit because the second mission of hers takes place later on. But she becomes something called Lady Nightingale, where her and her brother are kind of taking down this one German named Steiner, which I originally thought was going to try to tie it into Black Ops. But no, because you end up killing him after he kills your brother. But yeah, so that one ends. And then we get Wade Jackson, who is a pilot. We get some serious A New Hope vibes on his first mission. You are just flying in the first mission and bombing. And the last bombing run is basically like the trench run, which I found was actually kind of a little bit enjoyable. And then after that, you have a mission where he is basically kind of getting a little too cocky and crashes the plane. Him and his co-pilot have to fight their way out, and they find the 92nd Regiment, which I think, if it is historically accurate, is the African American regiment from the American side. I know that that was a true story. I think Red Tails, which was a George Lucas movie, I think it was called. If not, that is a true crew. They're, due to the times, they were given all the dirty jobs and all the rough jobs where they knew that there would be a lot of casualties due to, you know, how the times were. But of course, Wade's racist. He doesn't trust these guys. And then at the end of it, they turn the tide of the war, and he becomes not racist. And also with that, I forgot to say, during Battle of Stalingrad, they literally do say that Polina changed the tide of Stalingrad all by herself. No Viktor Reznov, no actual historically accurate people, but Polina was the only person that changed Stalingrad. And then we have Lucas. Lucas is from Australia. They're in the African side of the front, where he's a demolitions expert, and again, he's actually receiving the racism this time from the Brits, because Australians aren't that good. So just remember, you got to prove to people that you're not what they think. Which I know, like, I'm sounding like a jerk with that. It is a good message, but it's really hammered in this story, like Polina's Revenge. It's kind of heavy-handed on all of this. But yeah, so they find a base that gives them vital information about basically what's going on with the Germans in Africa, and then you attack the base. But of course, because you went against plans, you got a demerit for it, and then you go against plans again and lose your friends, and then get in trouble again, but you still turn the tides of the war, and the Vanguard team is where Lucas goes. So with that, we are all caught up, and then we have one last mission. Yes, 90% of this game was flashbacks and tutorials. We'll get to why it's tutorials in a minute, but yes, 90% of this game, actually 95% of it's tutorials, 90% is flashbacks, because the first level is all tutorial too. But this mission, this final mission, you do get to play as all 4 Vanguard members. I did forget to mention, the reason why I can't remember Arthur's friend's name is because he's shot before you even kind of get to know him. He's shot in the face. And yeah, that's That's the end of 2 characters that you know nothing about, that were built up to be these special operatives that are basically the best of the best, dead. No point. So yeah, so you do get to play as the 4 characters throughout this, which I did find pretty fun. I honestly did enjoy this last level of using everything that you've learned and the teamwork and everything like that. And they're able to catch up to Franzinger, who I did forget to mention. During the story, this happens when the head of the German party during World War II died. So Franzinger takes over as the new Fuhrer, which is completely historically inaccurate and out of left field. But yeah, so you guys catch up to him, you're about to take him in, and he kind of mocks you guys that, like, oh yeah, you're taking me in, so that means that I'm going to basically get off scot-free for cooperating. So then Paulina and Arthur kill him. And then they steal a German jet that is, or German plane that is actually full of literally every project that they were working on, which, ironic, that the one plane that they stole had everything. So they find out what Operation Phoenix is, which is basically Germany kind of moving into all the different aspects, or all the different parts of the world. So, which I think part of it actually did happen in real life. So in Vanguard, they also were able to stop all of that. Just the 4 of them were able to basically, again, turn the tides of the war even into a way that never actually happened fully, I should say. But yeah, and then they also find other projects, which I thought this was cool. It was Project Nova, which references Black Ops, and then Project Ether, which is zombies. And then they all fly from this fun adventure that was World War II off to the next adventure, which, 1, we're probably never going to see, and 2, is going to be the Cold War, which is going to be complicated considering that the one Russian on the team is going to be the only bad guy. But yeah, so didn't really think of that. So really quick, the issue that I had with, there's 2 issues that I had with the story. One I kind of already mentioned. The character creation of these characters. This story was written by the same person that wrote Jedi Battle Scars, which, if you guys want to see my view on that, you can go ahead and watch the video. I was not a massive fan, just due to the character writing. The author knows how to write good stories, but does not know how to write good characters. For example, both Marin from Jedi Battle Scars and Paulina have the same exact personality trait of, I only care about revenge. And then finally, like, the last chapter or the last 5 minutes, okay, I don't really just care about revenge anymore. Small things happen, but it really changed me. Like, there was more build-up in Battle Scars making sense on why Marin didn't, but Paulina went from, I just want revenge, to, I like you guys. Like, literally in a split second at the end. And that was it. Like I said, Arthur was just a narrator and kind of a blank slate of a character. Other than that, wasn't really that super interesting. Wade, I think, was probably my favorite character just because of, like, he literally kind of felt like Han Solo in a sense. So we had that, like, archetype of the kind of jerky guy that's got a heart of gold. And Lucas, I just felt like they probably casted an Australian to voice Lucas, but his accent sounds fake. It's weird. Like, it was almost like they're like, hey, hype up the Australian accent. But yeah, it was kind of weird, and Lucas also at the same time was kind of annoying. But with that, the gameplay was pretty interesting for the most part if it was a longer game. So Vanguard only has 9 actual missions. It has cutscenes that last over 5 minutes long, which is a major part of Contempt for me. There, half the time I would be sitting down without the controller in my hand, scrolling on my phone, and kind of watching what's going on, because it's like, why am I sitting here for 7 minutes doing nothing? When you're doing that on a game, it's not a game, it's a movie. It's an interactive movie. It's a Telltale game. No offense to those who like Telltale. But yeah, and with that, you only have 9 missions. And it's about 2 missions each character, and then 1 for Novak. The Novak level, you're learning your basic Call of Duty, moving around, climbing, shoot, switch guns, use explosives, stuff like that. For Arthur, you're learning how to use his special ability, which is commanding. Each character has a special ability. I think that is a very cool idea. It would be nice if you can use that than more than just 2.5 levels on the game. It would have been really cool if maybe this game was a little bit longer. Maybe if it was good enough to warrant a sequel, that you would just be able to do this. I wanted more missions basically to be like the last mission, where they're switching in between characters and doing stuff like that. But yeah, you can command people as Arthur, and then as Paulina you can climb. Like, the parkour in this game is very interesting. Never thought I'd say that for a Call of Duty game, but the parkour is pretty interesting. You're also able to sneak around faster and easier as Paulina. That's why she's a honorary assassin, I guess. But yeah. So hers is more movement-based. And then with Wade, you're able to use something called Focus, which gives you the enemy location and helps you auto-aim, which is actually a pretty useful scenario in the last mission, but that's it. And also the beginning of Wade's second mission. And then after that you have Lucas, who's a demolitions expert. You're able to carry multiple different types of explosives, and also you can exactly measure where your bombs are going. And I don't know if this is true, because it was really kind of the only missions where it would happen super often. I think it delays explosives when you're throwing them back. I don't know how true that is. With those, I felt like the last mission really honestly felt like what Republic Commando 2 could have been if they made Star Wars Republic Commando 2, where you can switch between your characters and then use special abilities and stuff. Especially when you're playing as Arthur, it feels like Republic Commando. But yeah, I mean, the last mission was really cool and everything. It's just sad that 90% of the rest, or all the rest of it, was tutorials. So I'm going to give the campaign a 5 out of 10. So with that, let's talk about zombies. Let me open up my phone. So there are 4 maps in zombies. 2 of them are objective based. 1 is a classic, and then 1 is like classic zombies. And what I mean by classic is it's a remake of Shin Numa with some added stuff onto it. So I will talk to them in the order I played them. I think I did it backwards. But yeah. So the first one I played was the Archon, or Archeon, however you want to pronounce that. That one was the classic style of round-based zombies. It was pretty fun. I have no idea. The sad thing is, I have no idea what's going on with the story. You have all these different demons talking to you, a German talking to you, a ally talking to you, and it's a little overwhelming. But yeah, the map didn't feel that interesting, honestly. It felt like a fan-made map, which, no offense to the fan-made apps, most of them are good, but this one is professionally done, and it feels like it's not a real map. After that, I did play Shin Numa. Remaking it was pretty fun, going through, and then finding the new area that's got Pack-a-Punch and everything was also pretty cool. But, I mean, it's Shin Numa for the 3rd time. After that, I'm going to kind of interchange these because it's the same thing. You had Dare Afghan and Terra Maldicta. I think Terra Maldicta was the last one I played. But honestly, I will say, objective-based zombies is cool for the first time. After doing it the second time and so on and so forth, it kind of gets boring. I was actually, I was holding off exfilling on whatever the first one was, and then my second one I did try to exfil, and it ended up being the most fun I had. But doing the different objectives and going through portals to do it, at the first try it was pretty cool. Second try it was like, okay, this is kind of boring. I mean, can I do something else? Can I just, do the classic zombie stuff? I actually remember when I was playing the first one, I was like, I don't get why everybody's complaining. This is actually kind of cool, but it gets old fast. And again, like I said, I have no idea about the story. I didn't know what was going on because it's all kind of overwhelming with this storyline, so I'm not even going to touch that. Also, the characters aren't as interesting. I do want to talk about the gameplay mechanisms for this. Again, using portals and stuff is kind of funky. Starting with whatever gun you want is also kind of disappointing to effect. I just would choose the one that had the M6 or M462 because that was the most powerful gun I was using in Vanguard or in the story, and I was like, I might as well just keep using this gun. And it would help me get to round 10, and then I'm like, okay, now this is way too easy. So yeah, I do miss just starting with a pistol and then working your way up, and I do kind of miss the round-based. I mean, I do really miss the round-based. But yeah, Vanguard Zombies is I'm going to give that a 5 out of 10, making this entire game a 5 out of 10. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and follow me on all my social media down below. Next week we'll be doing Modern Warfare 2022. So yeah, I hope you have a great day.